In other ISO standards, including the parent standard ISO 45001, Clause 8 typically represents the start of the do phase. However, the first few subclauses of Clause 8 continue to describe how to assess psychosocial risks and identify control measures, so these clauses have been included in this risk management module. Clause 8.1, Operational Planning and Control, provides general information in Clause 8.1.1. This subclause describes the actions and activities you should undertake to eliminate hazards and reduce psychosocial risks by exploring the fit between tasks, structures, and work processes and the needs of workers. You should identify the control measures that are already in place to manage psychosocial hazards. While these controls may not have been developed with the explicit intention to address psychosocial hazards, you'll find that many of your existing processes will already provide some protection against those psychosocial hazards. These might include things like flexible working hours, workforce consultation mechanisms, clear position descriptions and reporting lines, and formal and informal recognition and reward processes. Once you have identified the relevant control measures, you should determine whether they are sufficient to control the risk or if additional controls are necessary. Additional controls are likely to be necessary when your risk assessment has identified actual or potential harm following exposure to psychosocial hazards, but may be necessary even when harm has not been identified. In addition to identifying the control measures already in place, you should assess existing management practices and worker behaviour to understand whether members of the company are using those control measures. This provides an indication of the level of support for the control of psychosocial hazards across the organisation. Once you understand your existing control measures and the level of support for psychosocial risk management within your organisation, you should then start to develop a long-term strategy addressing organisational policies, structures, resources, existing systems and operations. This strategy should inform the design and management of work in a way that prevents worker exposure to psychosocial risks and promotes psychological well-being at work. Control measures should be developed in accordance with the principle of the hierarchy of controls and should aim to include primary, secondary and tertiary level interventions. I'll explore these concepts in more detail in the next videos.